Folks, welcome back to Brew Time. It's Jane with us. Jane Omorogbe. Omorogbe?
Yes.
Got it right this time. Good to have you back.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. I really had such a good time chatting with you last time. I was like, let's just jump on again, do it all over again.
People seem to love it. I had so many people messaging me going, she's amazing, get her back on. So, yeah, thank you very much for coming back on. I had a little listen to see where we got up to with questions. Do you know we answered 3 questions in an hour and a half? It's not bad going.
Yeah, but do you know that's my fault because I just go blah, 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 blah.
Me too. No, nothing wrong with that. We will go to the questions, folks, but let's have a catch up. What you've been doing? What you've been up to?
I've just been, I don't know, what have I been doing? I've been going to the gym a lot and I've been coaching my clients and just running around doing normal general life stuff. But it's just, I love it. I absolutely love it. And it's really weird because I was speaking via Insta or I don't know, some social media channel with one of the other gladiators from my generation. And I was like, how is it that I'm stronger now, 30 years later, that it's just like, I don't get it. And she messaged me back, you were always strong, you just didn't realise.
Wow.
That was really sweet, yeah.
I was going to ask, is there a rivalry between, maybe rivalry's the wrong word, but, between your original generation of the gladiators and the new lot? I mean, do you look at it and go, yeah, we were better in those days? Are you going to be diplomatic or not?
No, I'm pausing because I want to make sure I'm being really, really honest because I would just want to go, no, of course not. I want to double check. Is there rivalry? No, there really isn't because I just think what they're doing is phenomenal. They are, in our generation, we were like out there showing people that you can be strong and you can be fit. And in those days, it was all about being skinny and having low fat diets and doing cardio and jumping about with, G-strings on and stuff. On the weekend.
Can't say I noticed.
It's just because I got an image in my mind. I saw a video of Cher doing like some step aerobics thing in like this. Yeah. So that's why I said G-string.
Bring it back, Jane. Bring it back.
Moving on. Hi home. So no, but I think that what's happening now is they're taking that another level, and with all the social media that they've got and the platform that they have, they're just creating an army of people that are just going to grow up with a totally different idea about what it is to be healthy. I think they're doing brilliant. I love it. And rivalry, no. To have a rival, there's got to be some competition, hasn't there? Like we've got it and it's done. There's no competition now. I hope that they're in shape as well, but years later, like most of us are. So no, it's really good. I love it.
It's weird because I remember watching Gladiators, and I just realised as I started saying this that this could come across as a little bit insulting, and it's not meant to be. But I remember watching it as a kid. I was a kid and watching Gladiators on the TV, and in my mind, like especially the blokes were just like Warrior and people like that, and is it Shadow, the great big really dark guy. I mean, they were just behemoths. They were massive in my mind. And then I watched some of the new stuff when it came on, and you look at them, and they're big guys, but you look and just think, well, it's just like the bloke down the gym, the really developed guy down the gym. So in my head, it's like, well, back in the day, they were much bigger and stronger, but it's probably because I was wee. I don't know.
No, I don't know. I think if you saw somebody like Giant in real life, you would still think, dude, guy is a mountain. And what's his name? Nitro. I think if you saw him in real life as well, you'd be like, dude, the guy's legs, that's not normal. They're really, really powerful. And in our day, Hunter and Rhino, guy, he looked like a box. He was solid. And I remember watching him do like 100-meter sprint, and how someone that big could move that fast, pure power. And Warrior, we used to call Big Daddy because he was just massive. Everything about him, just huge. No, you weren't imagining. I know you were. How old were you then?
This week we are supported by Dual Bike Training. Dual Bike Training offers bespoke motorcycle coaching that suits your needs. Based in the Northwest, Dual Bike Training can offer anything from back-to-biking refreshers to full on-road coaching programs built around you. Find Dual Bike Training at dualbiketraining.co.uk. That's Dual, Jewell, biketraining.co.uk, or on X as at Dual Training and Instagram at Dual Bike Training. Neil holds all the top advanced motorcycle certificates from ROSPA, IAM and BMF. He also volunteers for Cheshire Bike Safe. He's a qualified lecturer in engineering, so you're going to be in safe hands. Have a read of his testimonials at the website dualbiketraining.co.uk/testimonials. Ride smoother, faster, sharper. A massive thanks to Dual Bike Training for your support.
God, well, I was born in 76, so Gladiators was that late 80s and early 90s to mid 90s, wasn't it?
I did it in 93.
Okay, yeah, so I'd have been 93, I'd have been 17. So yeah, I wasn't a little kid by then.
No, you weren't.
Well, that's weird, that.
I was born in 71. So if you're born in 76, you're not that much younger than me.
Yeah. In my head, I was a wee kid, but obviously wasn't. I was, a young adult then, or just heading off to uni. Wow. Yeah. God, that's a reality check.
Yeah. Do you know what? I was talking to Nitro again on socials, and he was saying our generation were really inspiring for them. So I went through his profile and there was a picture of him. I can't remember if I said this on the last chat we had. There was a picture of him in a nappy, like in a pamper, standing in front of a Gladiator poster from our generation. This is a full-grown adult who's got like muscles like this. He was a baby when that's confronting.
Wow.
And there were a couple that weren't even born.
Do you know, it's little things like people go on about, the millennium, 25 years ago. And I go, no, it's not. It's like 5 years ago. It's not 25 years ago. Don't be ridiculous. No. It is. How has that happened? All my mates from uni, we're all starting to turn 50 now. It's not long. And some of the lads are already 50, but you're like, oh my God, this is a reality check. How's this happened?
I know. There was a guy in my gym the other day and he said, in 3 years' time, I'm going to be 40. I'm 54 this year, so in 6 years' time I'll be 60.
Yeah. Right. Fitness-wise, that's something we need to move to because I don't think we addressed this at all in the last chat. That this is where you're at now in life. You're cool. How do you term yourself? I was going to say a fitness and lifestyle coach. Is that right?
Yeah, I would say I'm a health and nutrition coach.
There we go. Right.
And I'm not nothing against PTs. I used to be a PT when I was younger, but that gives people the impression. I had one guy saying to me, no, I'm not interested in coaching with you because I don't like getting shouted at. And I was like, why would you get shouted at? That's what PTs do. Come on, give me 10. Come on. So I don't stand next to you and count, because I would lose count and anyone
not with me, you wouldn't.
Anyone who's seen me try to coach them and I'm in person, I do lose count because I'm so busy looking at form and stuff. So that's not what I do. I'm a qualified strength, health, nutrition and mindset coach. So it's a combination of everything. So if somebody comes to me and they say they want to get stronger, we look at why do you want to get stronger? What's happening with your food? What's happening with your sleep? What's happening with your stress? And it's a whole package. And then a workout, a program that's going to get you from where you are now and meet you there to where you want to go at a pace that is really sustainable and simple and sequential and not like, here's a diet plan, you're going to get ripped in 6 weeks, boom. Because then what happens after 6 weeks? It's got to be life skills that you can have, that you can carry on. And then when you're on a bike trip somewhere in a mountain, and someone gives you a plate of food, you can just look at it and know roughly what the macros are, how many calories are on that plate. But if you don't learn the skills, you just have to keep going on diets, which is not fun, eh?
We are also supported by Ultimate Add-ons. Old Faithful been with me from the very start. Ultimate Add-ons are the premium manufacturer of mobile phone and action camera mounting solutions for motorcycles. With a kit for any bike and a proven track record of creating products that keep your devices safe, secure and easily accessible, the Ultimate Add-ons product range is ideal for any rider, from the commuter to the round-the-world adventurer. Why shell out on an expensive GPS system when you could use your smartphone, keeping it charged and within reach to take photos of your travels at the same time? Ultimate Add-ons waterproof, shockproof and dustproof tough cases are available for all flagship smartphone models and are designed by riders for riders. Find out why Ride Magazine gives Ultimate Add-ons their coveted Best Buy certification. Keep riding this winter with Ultimate Add-ons. It's all about the journey. Now, if you head to their website, ultimateaddons.com, use the code TeapotOne10, so that's TeapotOne, TeapotOne, with the number 10 at the end, that'll get you 10% off. A big shout out to Ultimate Add-ons for their continued support.
Well, I've given up on all that malarkey. We've chatted about this a wee bit, haven't we, on the old Insta Messenger and stuff. And I remember, like, growing up, I was a real fat kid growing up, and my mum was always on diets, and I was just always on the diet as well. And absolutely nothing happened till I was about 14, and then I found rugby, and I remember. I started playing rugby for the school, got the team started because we saw the World Cup in like 91, I think it was. 1990, 91 World Cup we saw. And we went to one of our teachers and said, can we start playing rugby? So remember the teacher strikes back in the 80s, that's when all the clubs and everything stopped in school, didn't they? So we had no clubs then. So this techie teacher, who happened to be a rugby referee, he was like, yeah, okay, I can teach you. So we started doing rugby, and obviously I was horrendously fat. I was the scrum, and I could watch all the other kids just run, and I was just plodding around. So I'm like, I'm not enjoying this. And there was an adult side in a town near us, and a couple of boys said, look, we're going to go and train with the senior side, the adult side. Do you want to come? So I did that, and the whole summer, like for 7 weeks, the switch went. I've chatted to you about this before. The switch went in my head. So I would cycle 11 miles each way every day during the summer holidays. So it's 22 miles a day of cycling. Then I'd work on this farm picking fruit and all that sort of malarkey around the farm. And then in the evenings, I would go straight to rugby training, and we got beasted, proper pre-season training. And I remember turning up to school 7 weeks later, the first day at school, people didn't recognise me because I'd literally shifted about 2.5 stone, 3 stone, but I'd got like buff, you know, like I'd gone.
How many weeks was that? 7 weeks, did you say?
7 weeks. And it just transformed me. And I remember the first training session with the school, I was running the arse off everybody. And I remember that feeling and just thinking, oh, this is awesome. And things just went on and on and on for me because I was now really fit. I was big. I was in shape. I was playing at a school level where people weren't like that. So I sort of excelled and started playing for North Scotland schools and worked my way all the way up through to trialling for Scotland. And then I didn't get Scotland. I was now at uni, found beer, found women. So I went downhill again, but I was still training in the gym. So I sort of got big, but not fit. And then fast forward a little bit, once later stage into life, I'm now in the old bill. I was in my late 20s, I think it was, maybe into my early 30s. I was on a public order unit in the old bill where we got paid to train. So same thing, like the switch went and I just started training. And again, I shifted loads of weight and I got really buff and it was like, oh, happy days. I can remember how good I felt at that point. Loads of energy and I just felt great. And then, you know, life happens, doesn't it? I met my wife, then I went away and travelled. And then when I came back from travelling, and I've done nothing ever since, really. You know, I've had little points where I do this thing on the socials called Trim Teapot, where I get on a row in the morning and then I post up once I've rowed. More to just try and be accountable, really, to try and make myself accountable. But we had this nice little community where other people were like, yeah, I want to be involved with that. Tag me and that'll kick me up the arse. So we had a nice little group of us together. But there's really only about 2 or 3 people from that group who's still doing it. You know, 3-4 years later, they're still doing it every day. And I watch it, I look at it and just think, you're pathetic. You are absolutely pathetic. You can't even do 20 minutes, half hour on a rower. It's shocking.
What do you think?
I need that switch.
What do you think is going on? Sorry, I interrupt you. I just want to be like, I just want to understand what is going on in your mind when you know how good you feel when you're doing it. When you say, life gets in the way, what do you mean? How?
I don't really know, because I know it sounds ridiculous. I think I've always had that switch that went, and I've been waiting like 10 years now, and the switch hasn't gone, and it's like, maybe I need to do something, but I don't know. I think I've just got inherently lazy. I've got a lot of work to do, and you think of every other reason not to train and every other reason not to eat healthy. It's just, I'll just grab something here, I'll just grab that, and before you know it, you're nearly 21 stone. So
there's this thing, the comfort zone, where everything is just super comfortable. And some people have it in work where, paycheck comes in, they could do the job in their sleep. It's just, it's all good. Or fitness or nutrition or relationship. And it's just all like ticking along. But I think, and this sounds really dramatic, but I mean it from the bottom of my heart, I think the comfort zone is where you go to die. Literally. Because if you're in the comfort zone, you cannot grow just by definition. You cannot learn. You cannot progress. You can't expand because you're just comfortable. And I just think it's a really dangerous place to be.
Yeah. I'm very conscious of the fact that I used to do a lot of weights back in the day, but I don't do any of that anymore. Don't even do body weight stuff now. But all I'm hearing, so obviously I listen to like Joe Rogan and all those American podcasters, and all you hear from them is that as you get older, like compound lifts become really important because they help promote bone density. And if you're not doing that, that's when your bone, is that true? Where your bones start getting quite fragile, and basically you age, don't you? You get old and frail. So like now these days, if I do anything in the garden, like it all hurts. I'm absolutely knackered within like minutes of lifting stuff. And you just think, oh, Jesus, I've become an old man.
and you get older really quick past the other side of like 45, 50, especially if you're not doing anything. So you're quite right with that bone density and muscle mass. They say now, and it's kind of obvious when you think about it, but now they're like studying it and it's all out there all over Instagram and social media. We lose 1% of our muscle mass every year past the age of 40 for women and 50 for guys. So if you're listening to this and you're like 40, 45 and you're not doing anything, the muscle you have now, so if you think about it, how do you feel when you're running up and down the stairs because you forgot something upstairs and you've got to get back out? Or if your kids want to play with you, I presume, most people have got teenage kids. I've got still quite a young kid because I was an older mother. But just think about how much muscle you've got right now. In a decade, which we know how quickly that's coming around, you'll have 10% less.
Wow.
And then you'll have 10% less. So for women who are in their 40s, who are not doing anything at all, that's why women are falling over, men too, but for women it's not great statistics, at 70, because at 70 you've got a 30% less muscle and strength and agility and quickness. It deteriorates. So does your body's ability to take on protein and make it work for you so that you can build muscle. You have to eat more protein. You don't have to there's all these things like you have to count the number of stars in the sky, multiply by grains of sand on the beach you went to in 1987, and then add like dog years or something, and that's how many grams you need. It doesn't have to be that complicated. It can be really simple. Like you just have to make sure you've got enough, and you have to move. But you're quite right. If you don't do anything now, in a decade, it's not going to look great.
Jesus, I need to get going. Crikey.
Ooh.
And we are also supported this week by the Influencer Store. Now, the Influencer Store helps you build your brand big or small, providing you with a solution and apparel. We help you to increase your fan base while supporting you with starting your own influencer clothing line with nothing more than just an idea or design, and there are no hidden costs. For more info, come check us out at theinfluencerstore.co.uk or drop us an email at online@influencerstore.co.uk for more information. Now, if you head to TeapotOne.com, you have a look at any of the merch available over there. That is all handled by Roger and Charlotte and the team over at the Influencer Store. A massive thanks to them for their ongoing support. Right, this one's for you lot. Everyone that's watching, everyone that's listening, you're all helping to support the podcast, and I can't thank you enough. Every time that you like it, every time that you listen to it, download it, watch it, every time you give it a thumbs up, when you subscribe or follow the podcast on any platform that you happen to be consuming it on, every time you tell someone about it and they then go and do it, it all helps massively. And it's you guys that have helped push Brew Time up there to the top 5% of podcasts globally. My mind is blown. Thank you very much.
Say, let's just take me as an example then. 48 years of age, have a history of working out and being active, but that's a long time ago. So if I was to start now, can I, never mind slowing down that sort of wasting of your muscles that you're talking about, the degeneration of your muscles, is that something you can stop by working out, or is it always going to happen?
Well, to a degree, it's going to happen because that's aging, but you can definitely slow it down, and do not listen to anybody that says you can't build muscle past the age of 40 or 50, because that's utter bullshit.
Okay.
That is, like, I'm proof of it. That's rubbish. If you're prepared to do something about it, and that you like really do something about it, then you can definitely get stronger without question. Whether or not you could end up being 90 years old and still, having said that, I'm just thinking there's a guy in my gym called Jerry who I've got such a crush on him. He's so gorgeous. He knows because I call him my gym crush. He's 80.
Yeah, Jesus.
And he can lift as much as me, and on some exercises more.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
He's astonishing. He'll do single arm rows, you know, where you've got a dumbbell and you lean against something and you row up like this. He can do a single arm row with 26, 28 kilos, a dumbbell in each hand. That's a lot for an 80-year-old dude.
Jeez, yeah. Wow.
Yeah. But I see him at the gym at 4 times a week? Every
He's
day.
probably been doing that for decades, hasn't he?
Yeah. And he doesn't stop. And he knows at the minute he stops that he's going to suddenly be 80. So it's never too late. It's never too late. But not doing anything about it is not a solution. It's just not an option.
So how do you go about starting something like this then? Do you turn up at a gym and just present yourself in front of the instructors or the staff there and go, help? Or like, do you approach somebody like you?
There's a zillion ways to do it. You can just look out on social media and see what information you can find. You can ask someone that you know that's like, if you know someone in your circle of friends that's in shape and they're obsessed with it or they love it, or you know that you could learn something, you could just say, can I hang out with you for a bit? What would you suggest I do? You could go to the gym and just say, like, could you write me a program or something? But what I do is the coaching. So it's the whole package. How are you sleeping? How are you eating? Do you even know what a protein is? Do you know how much you need to have? Do you know why you need it? And it's the whole system, like from A to B. So normally when I'm coaching people, it's like a whole period. So I've got people that are with me for years and we go through things. Like repetition is the mother of all skill, right? So you keep going over it. So you start with a routine that becomes a habit, that becomes an identity. And when it's an identity, guess what? You don't need any willpower, but you don't need as much. So if I said to you like, oh, Bruce, can we take a little break? And because I want to have a cigarette. I don't smoke, by the way, but if I was to say, can I have a cigarette? Do you smoke?
Me? No.
So if I said to you, shall we have a break? And here's a cigarette. I'll light one for you. Here, take it. What would you say?
I'm all right, thanks. I'm all good.
Because,
It's not what I do.
yeah, it's not what I do. I don't smoke. It's not what I do. That becomes your identity. So I had a client the other day who's been with me for 6 months, and they went on holiday, and they said to me, what am I going to do on holiday? Like the train, I'm going to put on weight. I'm going to be sampling different foods. And I was like, go and have fun. Don't think about it. Just enjoy it. And you know what? They came back and realized that what they'd learned, which you won't learn from a diet, is all these skills started as a routine, became a habit, became identity. So yes, they indulge a little bit more, but not as much as normal, because their identity says, I'm the kind of person that thinks about my food choices, looks at my portions, makes sure I get my steps in, thinks about what kind of exercise I've done. And then the willpower, because that is going to leave you just standing whenever shit hits the fan. Willpower and determination, they're out the door, aren't they? And what's left? The reason that you've started and your identity.
And lastly, a huge shout out to all of you over in the clan on Patreon. You folks have supported me since I took the leap to do this all full time way back in 2020. I literally could not do this without you. To this day, I couldn't do it without your support. So a heartfelt thank you. Your questions are the bedrock of the podcast here at Brewtime. And your support really does mean the world. Folks, if you fancy getting involved with the clan, head to patreon.com/TeapotOne and come and join the fun. We do live streams that are only for the clan over on Patreon. I do meetups purely for the clan as well. They are normally UK based, but this year we're pushing a little bit further afield. Again, details are available over on the TeapotOne Patreon page and also in our private little Facebook group that we've got. Be great to have you along. If it's something that you think tickles your fancy, check it out. Patreon.com/TeapotOne. And to existing clanners, thank you very much. Right, let's get back to it.
I think that's part of my issue, is that I used to have loads of willpower. I am an inherently stubborn person, and I think I used to use that to my advantage, so that when I focused on something and I wanted something to happen, then I just threw everything at that, I just focused on it, and I'd always been like that, whatever it was that I wanted to turn my hand to, I could just focus on it and go for it. But I think, I don't know, I think I've had such a long time of just being lazy, basically, and it's the easy option not to train, it's the easy option not to worry about what you're eating. Now it's like, I'm out of that sort of psyche, that mentality that you just spoke about, where that is your identity, that's what you do. I'm out of that flow. I need to get myself back into it.
But I mean, I'm not a therapist, but you don't seem happy with this choice that you've made.
Oh, I'm not. I hate this.
Yeah, you're not happy.
I hate this.
So this always I find so interesting. I studied psychology when I was younger, so I just love all the mindset behind it.
Yeah.
When you said this is easy, you do the easy choice. I suggest, sir, that it's not the easy choice at all. Because actually you're taking an easy choice that you feel like shit about. What's easy about it? Do you know, the way I see it, right? Sometimes, like, I don't know if anyone's listening and they're into football or basketball or something, or biking. If you think of it like life as a basketball match or a football match, or I used to race the endurance championship, the Low Budget Cup. So I organised it and I participated in it. It's an amateur endurance championship. It was just for fun. And I had an SV650 and it had a normal tank. So we fettled the tank. So it was 24 litres so that we could run for an hour and a half. And because normally in 3 hours, that's the length of the race, you've got 3 riders. And it was me and my friend Sarah, and we just rode together. So we wanted to ride for an hour and a half. So if you imagine a football match or a basketball match or a race like this, endurance race, at some point there's a midway point, right? In a match, you've got a half time where you all come together and you go, right, how do we do in the first half? What's going to happen in the second half? Who should we put out in the second half? You're not going to put someone who's like, can't be bothered. Catch the ball, I'm not interested. if you're doing a race like the endurance championship, whatever's happened in the first half has done. Don't cry about it. It's done. Let's just see if we can go back out in the second half and bring our A game. And so I hate to break it to you, we're in the second half, mate. There is no first half. We're done. It's finished. We've had the break. Whoever is going to ride the bike for the second half is now on the bike. We had an SV650. It had 70 brake horsepower at best at the back wheel. One race it dropped a cylinder, so we had nothing. I had to change down to get up a hill. It was like, no.
on the track.
Yeah, seriously, it was in the Nürburgring. But if you look at the bike like your body, maybe you've been dealt a bad hand. Maybe you've got something that's not as, healthy and fit or whatever. You've got knee problems, you've got heart issues, whatever, like the SV dropped a cylinder. But you're just going to make the best of it. And you're going to get to the end of the race because at some point the checker flag is going to come out. It's going to drop. So who are you going to put out in the second half?
Yeah.
Sorry, I get on my soapbox about it because
No. I need that sort of stuff.
My mother is in her 70s and she's broken her hip, broken her wrist. She's not keen on moving and getting stronger, and it scares the shit out of me. I really don't want that for her, and I definitely don't want it for me or anyone that I care about or any of my clients. And it's not about extending your lifespan so that you live as long as possible. Like, that's not the point. It's about extending your health span. Yeah. So that if in a couple of years checker flag goes out and it's game over, fair enough. But you would have had fun and you would have got up every day and be proud of yourself. Like, I'm showing up as the best version of me until the whistle blows.
Yeah.
And
absolutely. And I know I'm really aware. Sorry, I've got something in the back of my throat there. I'm very aware of the positive impact exercise has on you, because when I do drag my ass onto the rower, I really like rowing, so I row a lot. I've got a rower just behind the computer here, so it's not even like I need to go far. It's in the office. But when I finish like a session on the rower, I'm absolutely hanging. But afterwards, you feel great. For the rest of the day, it's like, okay, I've ticked something off. I've accomplished something today. And when you get into that, there's a few times where I've managed to get 3-4 months out of it. And once you're into the flow of it all, of getting up in the morning, coming down onto the road, do your rowing, get that done, move on with the day, it's great. But at some point, I just fall off the wagon, and then it's like months before I get back on it.
Well, why do you think you fall off?
I don't. Talking about it now, like in my head, the reason I do stop rowing is generally it's because something comes up that day where say I've got to get up at 2-3 in the morning to go somewhere on the bike, or I'm away on a tour. So for that period, I'm away. I can't row. I'm away, and then when I come back, it's just. I have a huge mountain, a massive backlog of content that needs to be edited for the channel and stuff. And it's like a noose around my neck. It's terrible. So in my head, I think, do I row or do I just get to work? And it's really easy just to go half hour, 40 minutes on the rower where you feel like shit and, you're hanging out your arse. Or just go and sit at the desk and edit, and you're working. You're working.
That is so interesting, because you started off saying how good you felt when you rode.
I know, yeah.
And then you twist it. And do you know what it sounds like? I see this a lot. Normally when clients come to me, sometimes I call them clients, sometimes students, depending on how I'm feeling, because they're really learning so much. But usually in about week 6 or 7, there's a period where what you're just talking about happens. And it's almost as if you imagine you've got an unconscious that is super loud. You can't hear it, but it's super loud. That is what's steering all of our decisions, this subconscious that, the stories that you tell yourself and the things that your mum and dad used to say and all of that is in the... And so you get to a point where you're going to change your life. People jump in my program. They're like, yeah, today's the day. I'm going to change my life. Then everything's going to be great. And then about 6 weeks in, this subconscious goes, what are you doing? We don't do that. Wait, you're really going to eat that again? No. And then all of a sudden, you just let that jump in the driver's seat again, and you sit over in the passenger seat, and then you're off again. And so this is why the coaching is so cool, because we dive into like, what is going on? Why? If they're in my program and I see that they're not doing the work, then it's not like, hey, get down and give me 10. Come on. A conversation like, what's happening? How are you feeling right now? And I had somebody the other day literally say to me, she verbalized it and literally said, it's like there's a voice that's in me saying, this is not what we do. And I so want to ignore it, but I can't. And it's the subconscious that's saying, this is not. Have you heard Tony Robbins talk about it? He explains it in like a thermostat.
Right.
My first Tony Robbins book when I was 21. I find him fascinating. He's very shouty. He's either love it. Do you know who I mean? The big American.
Yeah, the lifestyle guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You either love him or hate him, but I've been following him for about 30 years. I find him really interesting. And he talks about it like being a thermostat. So if you're like, a 20 degree or something, and then that's where you are, and the temperature gets really, really hot because you're improving, and you're flying. Something in you says, wait, you're not that. Come on, come back down again. And like the other way around, if you were to fall down lower than your 20 degree stable, you fall down, something in you says, come on, get your shit together because we're not down here, and it brings you up. So it's about changing your mindset as to what is your identity. Are you somebody who, and then when you said like, you get back and you've got like a backlog of stuff. I run 2 businesses in 2 different languages. I'm a single mum. I'm in the 50s. I'm menopausal. That's another thing on top of it. And it's about the priorities. So I'm sure if you unpacked my whole life, there would be balls that I'm dropping that are really important to you. You'd be like, how could you just let that ball drop? For me, it's not as important as this one. So I just hope that the balls that I'm dropping will bounce. And if they don't, so be it, because I'm not dropping this one.
Yeah, I mean, it's that's I see me in everything that you're saying there. It's weird though, because like when you said that same voice that can often be up here and like drag you down, but it can also be the one there and that brings you up. That one that brings you up, that was me. That's the one I always remember. Is the all right, fuck all that. Just come on, let's go. Let's get it done. You're knackered, but get out there, get down the gym, go training, go to the rugby pitch, do whatever it is. Get it done. You need to get it done. But at some point, I don't know when it was. At some point, it was like, there's an easy. It's like, what's the point? Let's just take your foot off the gas for a bit. You've earned it, and then that's like 20 odd years later now, and it's like I keep waiting for that voice to go, get your arse, come on, let's go. But are
you open to listen to it? Because it is there, but you're like, la 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 la.
Yeah. It's like the one that's going, don't worry about it. That one's shouting louder almost, so I don't really hear the other one. But
you have to turn the volume down on the one that is not serving you. And the way that I do it, every single time, I'm not exaggerating, I swear to God it works for me. Every single time I want to change my life, and we talked last time how many times I've done that, like, want to do this, want to do this, want to do this.
Yeah.
So I ask myself 7 or 8 times, why? So if I want to do something, I say, well, why do you want to do that? And then I write it down, literally with a pen and paper, write down, because blah, blah, blah. And then I sit with the answer that I've given myself and I say, why to that answer? And usually the first 4 or 5 answers are pretty superficial. And it's like, anyone can say those things. But as you start asking why, it's like another layer until you get to what you described with the reason that you went to rugby. The real reason was how shit you felt as a kid, not being able to show up and like compete and just be part of the gang. And like that is what made you cycle every day and then work in the field and then go training and then because your why, the why is always stronger than the how. And when you find a why that really matters to you, that's what drives you forward. And sometimes you've got to have it written down and on a post-it note or something so you don't forget it. But when your why is really that strong, that's why, when we first spoke and I said that I jacked everything in and I left my hometown and sold everything I had, and because my why was burning. There is no way I wanted to continue the trajectory of my life as it was laid out. I didn't want that. So I sold every single thing I had and I gave it all to my coach, like, help me change my life because I don't want this. The best thing I ever did.
Yeah, I can relate. Like I think a lot of people have those points in life, don't they, where they've done that, they've gone all in at it.
Yeah.
They just, I haven't. I think that is the switch that I keep referring to in my. I keep waiting for that to happen in my head, and it's not, and it always used to. So I think, as you just said there, I need to identify something that is that switch and turn it on.
Yeah. And sometimes it takes actual, work to sit down. If you really want to change something and you can't find the impetus to get started, then sometimes it's about like literally sitting down and thinking about it. Because everybody knows you're supposed to eat 5 fruit and veg a day. Who does that? It's almost impossible to eat that much, and you've got to do your squats, keep your testosterone levels up. And as I said, eat a mountain of protein every day and all these things that you're supposed to do. And it's so difficult to get it all done when you've got life as well. But if you take the time to think about why is it actually really important to me? I've told you about my mum. That is like, I don't want that. And it might happen. It might just be a genetic thing, which is another thing that always makes you laugh when people say, yeah, but look at you. It's genetic, isn't it? Yeah, it's not the 30 years of going to
Exactly, yeah.
That's got nothing to do with it. It's just genetics.
You're just lucky, that's all.
Yeah, you want to see my mum. It's not genetics. But that's part of my why. That I'm 53 now. I'll be 54 in a couple of months. And she's only 24 years older than me. And we're very different genetically. Like she's about up to him. She's pasty white, quite fragile, like very different looking. But I still have her genetics. And what's happening to her, I just think, yeah, that's my why. So when you figure out your why, that will get your ass in gear.
Right, I've got some homework, folks. I've got some homework.
Yeah. I have a really nice worksheet that I've written for people that are struggling finding their why, and it just talks you through how to break it down with a little explanation about how I do it. And it's something that I did another version of it about 3 years ago, where I was stuck in a place and I'm like, I don't know if I want this for myself. So I sat down and I really got the why. And then all of a sudden you keep going, why? Yeah, but why? Like if you said, I want to earn X amount of money or something. And then you go, but why? Oh, because I want a car or a house or whatever. I want to go on a holiday. But why? But why? And then you'll dig down. And I've had people say, oh, because we never had anything as kids. And it just made me feel so shit that I didn't feel safe, because I didn't know if we were going to have food on the table. That's the why, not like I want a car or whatever.
Yeah.
And when you dig down enough, then you're like, okay. And that is the why that holds you true when the motivation and the willpower has just left you for a minute because life got in the way, because you've got a mountain of stuff to edit.
Yeah. I mean, I know for a fact there are loads of, certainly loads of blokes. No doubt there's going to be lassies as well. But within my sort of community, when I go away on tours, it's mostly all blokes that come away. And a lot of us sit and chat about exactly what we've just spoken about, how, back in the day, in our glory days, we were all like contenders back in the day. That's how everyone talks. But, I think most of us have, certainly the people I hang about with, we're at a stage now where we're not, we've let things go quite a bit and we talk about stuff and we're all in the same sort of mentality as I've just chatted about here. So there's going to be loads of people in that same boat as I am. So how would you suggest then? Would you like contact yourself
Yeah.
and then we
Yeah.
just go from there, or
Yeah.
like,
So
what happens?
normally how I work is people reach out to me and then I jump on a call. So actually it's very similar to this, and we just dive into where are you at now? Where do you want to go? What's holding you back? Do you think that you need some help? Like I have some deal breakers when I'm doing my personal coaching, that I want to work with people that want to change. Because if that isn't an intrinsic thing, then it's very difficult for them to get results. And I look like a crap coach, which I'm not. I'm good because I'm passionate about it. I love being able to be part of somebody's story and to help them become who it is they want to be. And it sounds like, I'm Mother Teresa, but that's not the case at all. It's quite a selfish thing because it makes me feel so good if someone's feeling brilliant, right? But I know that for some people, it's just the length of time they find that a bit daunting, or the budget they might find a bit daunting. So I'm producing a product now that's like a low ticket version, so a cheaper, more budget friendly version of the personal coaching, and it's a group format. So people can find it on Insta. I spoke to MCN the other day. They're thinking about running a giveaway in MCN.
Oh, wow.
Hopefully. We should be able to clarify that at some point. But yeah, so basically you would enter the program. It's a different budget to the personal coaching because it's got a group format. So there'll be a Zoom call with everybody at the beginning. There'll be one at the end. And then at the end, once you've graduated, it's 6 weeks instead of months and months that my personal coaching is. And at the end, you have the chance to book a free 15-minute call with me so that we can talk about what you learned, what you struggled with. Do you want to continue? What are the steps that you would need to put in place to be able to continue on your own or with me? So it gives you level 1, because the way I coach has got 3 levels of nutrition. And level 1 nutrition, the very, very basics to get you started. There will be 2 different versions of exercises. So one with body weight for people that have never moved before or very rarely, or who have got out the habit. And then one just with dumbbells. So no barbells, no machines. And then there will be some mindset exercises. So every week, more or less, you'll have a mindset exercise to help you figure out what it is that you're telling yourself that is not really serving you, and how can you change that to suit the future that you want to build for yourself. And at the end of the 6 weeks, you should have made enough changes that you can decide for yourself, like, okay, I really want to do this. Because 6 weeks, 12 weeks is not enough to change your life completely, but it's certainly enough to give you a bit of a kick up the bum and like a slap around the face, like, what am I doing? Second half, we're in the second half.
God.
Can't stress it enough.
That's really profound when you said that. It's like, shit, we are. You're right, we are.
I don't mean to scare people with it. That's not the point. I find it, okay, honestly, as I said, I'm in my second half. I'm way over the second half. I'm 53. Well, maybe not, but let's just assume I don't live to 106. So you're in your second half, and what a privilege. It's not like, what a privilege to still be here. I have friends who aren't, parents who aren't. Yeah. So what a privilege. We're still here. So let's make the most of it and show up in the second half with some respect for ourselves, feeling good about who we are, and inspiring to our children and the people that we love. Because kids, by the way, parents listening, kids learn by what we do, not what we say. I have a 14-year-old. It's quite obvious that he's watching more than listening.
Okay. Right, folks, that's it. Maybe we do a teapot or brew time sort of group, and this trim teapot thing that I've got going on, why don't we all get together and we can work with Jane? Maybe that could be something we could do.
That could be fun. You're going to do
accountable
the course,
to everybody.
You're going to
yes.
do the course? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
That would be so
it's
cool.
Time.
Yeah, it is time. It's just 6 weeks. The workouts are like, and a lot of people, they'll say to me, oh my God, how long do you work out? Yeah, thinking I'm going to say every single day for like 500 hours. It's not like that. Today, I was teaching, so it was a couple of hours. But normally, but it was
Yeah,
teaching.
I get you.
But my workout this morning before I started teaching was like 25 minutes, 30. Beasted myself, got it done, in and out, bam. And yeah, if I've got time to chill and sit in between the sets and have a little chat, it could be 45 minutes or an hour, but it doesn't have to be longer than 30 minutes. You can't tell me you can't find 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, the amount of times I say that to myself, that I've, you sat on the pan for an hour scrolling through utter dog shit on your phone, aren't you? You're like, well, waste of your life. Sat on the couch just wasting hours. It's
Well, do you know,
crazy.
for example, what you could do? I have a client who does this. So we set different habits as well because I work with an app. And before I jump into that, I have people who say like, it's not going to work if I don't have you next to me. That's a bit like saying you want to lose weight long term by following a diet. So you'll have somebody. Sorry, my phone keeps going on. You'll have somebody standing next to you telling you what to do. That doesn't give you any agency over yourself. Doesn't teach you anything. But this is why I have clients to me that have done yo-yo dieting. They lose weight. They come off the diet. They gain weight. They do another diet, like shakes and Weight Watchers, and it goes like this because they didn't learn any skills.
Yeah.
And so I think it's really, really important that the skills are there and not just this is what you're going to do, this is what you're going to do. And when I've lost my train of thought, but when you were saying about being on your phone, I was speaking to somebody the other day and like, okay, next time you're going to send a text or scroll, just sit against the wall and do it. Just do a wall squat.
Oh, yeah.
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 Then you're going to feel it.
You certainly will if you're there for an hour,
And the
crikey.
chances are you're going to scroll for less long as well.
Yeah. That's a good point.
If you say every time I'm just going to waste my life looking at stuff that's just, I fell down. Some of it's super interesting. I'm not going to lie. It's like there's a lot of really useful information out there, but it's so easy to fall down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
So the minute you know, like, what am I doing? Go and do that sitting against a wall.
Yeah. I like that. I
You'll
like that
speed it
idea.
up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the way I build habits in so that they're really easy. Wake up your brain. They're all sustainable, sequential, simple. And so if I say, like I got some guys that are really heavy lifting, and I work with women and men, and they're lifting really heavy, and then shit hits the fan, they get sick, the kids have got exams, work goes crazy, and they can't do their 40-minute workout anymore, then we break it all the way down, and they've got like a 5-minute mobility program, because the time that you invest in yourself, that's what we need to protect. Because otherwise, like you've noticed, if you don't protect that time, you fill it with something else, usually other people. If you're female, you will fill it with other people, like caring for someone else. So this program that I've described to you isn't like that because it's a lower ticket offer. So there isn't as much one-to-one, or there isn't any one-to-one apart from the front and the tail end, but you still get the ability to have the group. So you'll be in a cohort. We'll have communication in the group, so everyone there'll be weekly check-ins like I normally do, and I'll ask you a series of questions and you will answer in the group and everyone will support each other. It's really beautiful how it works because you're all in the same boat. And then topped and tailed with these Zoom calls and a 15-minute chat like, what'd you learn? How'd you get on? Good, eh?
All right, let's do it. Let's do it.
It's super exciting. You know, people that you feel like you could bring along with you for the journey?
I do actually. Yeah, I think I'll have a little chat, but I think I can get a little group of us together for something like this because I know there's at least a handful of lads that are in exactly the same boat that I'm in. You know, we chat about it over a beer and a pie and chips when we're out on the bikes. You know, we all chat about.
You don't have to stop living, and the way I coach as well. There's with the nutrition, for example. There's no, you shouldn't eat that. It's not a punishment. It's just, do you know what it is? And does it fit your identity? It's not like you can't ever have it, because that just feels crap.
Yeah.
It's not a nice feeling, but being able to make the choice, just like the cigarette example, I couldn't persuade you to have a cigarette because it's just not what you do. So at some point, like my client who went on holiday, at some point he had croissants and he had some beers and, he had a really nice time. But at some point, something in him, that little voice just went, it's enough now.
I don't smoke cigarettes, but I like a cigar. But I'll only have a cigar every now and then because I know they're not good for you. But I'll have the odd one, and I'm quite capable of just having 2 or 3 cigars a year,
Yeah.
And it's like, why can't I do that with chocolate or cake or stuff, sweet shit, which is my massive downfall. I just become like a glutton. I can eat like a priest for ages, like months. I can be really strict, and then I fall off the wagon, and I fall off big time. Say I've been good for a month. I can be bad for about 6, no problem. And that's the problem.
That is why the people that are in my personal coaching program, that's why they come to me, because they know that at some point they need me to reach out and find them when they're hiding, pick them up and say, okay, what are you doing and why? Let's have a chat about it, and then bring them back. And what I was going to say as well about the online stuff, I have people that really say, well, I can't do it without you, like being right next to me. But very often, just the same with the diets that you just have in front of you and you follow it, you don't learn anything. So very often the people that are online only, because I have got a couple of people that I see in person, but the people that are online only, very often they get the best results because they have accountability. And we have, not in this group program, but in my normal coaching program, we have so much interaction that I'm constantly with them. Do you know what I mean? But it's them doing it. It's intrinsic rather than me standing next to them and going, don't eat that and do eat that and lift that. Yeah. They have the option to do it or not, but they know I'm watching, and then they have the group as well. So this program that I'm designing for the group is very, very similar without the one-to-one. So it's a less expensive budget for people. It's much, much shorter, only 6 weeks, but you will learn the basics. It might feel a bit heavy because I'm trying to pack in as much as possible, but you can print stuff off and save it and go and look at it later. It should be a good value.
Right, you're on, Jane. Let's do it.
Who doesn't want to be trained by an ex-gladiator, eh?
Exactly. Do you know what I mean? Right. How about we move to questions? Because otherwise it's going to be an hour and a half and we haven't done any this time round.
I'll move the questions.
We could come back to this though, because I had a quick look through some questions, and there's questions that relate to what we've just spoke about anyway. So we'll no doubt come back to it. So, right, we'll head back to the clan over on Patreon, patreon.com/TeapotOne. Carrying on. Last question we had was from Rebecca. Next one's Debbie Clegg. Hi, Jane. Hi, Bruce. I don't want to sound obvious, but your resemblance to the beautiful Floella Benjamin is remarkable. I say this as I remember in my youth, over 40 years ago, watching her on the kids' morning programme back then. I looked forward to every day, and I think my parents used the TV as a childminder in those days. With this in mind, who did you find inspirational, be it from the TV world in your youth, or would you say that more reality? Would you say that more reality and life inspired you to become the strong and focused person you are now? Okay, so who did you take inspiration from growing up and now?
That is a lovely question. So Floella Benjamin, she's amazing, eh?
Yeah.
She's amazing.
She doesn't look any different. She still looks the same.
She doesn't. I worked with her.
Oh, wow.
I think it was like in the end of Gladiators. She was making a pilot for a TV show, and she asked me to play the role. I was like a princess or a queen or something. It was really, really cool. And me and I think Daz Crawford, who was Diesel in Gladiators, in back in the day. We both did this pilot together, and I spent a couple of weeks with her, obviously, because she was directing the whole thing. And what a woman. Just like every single thing that came out of her mouth, I was thinking, oh, I just don't want to forget that. Like advice and just, she's just regal, beautiful. In answer to the question, off the top of my mind, top of my head, there was a show that I used to watch when I was a kid. I don't know how old I want to say like 10 or something, but I'm not really sure. And it was called Quantum Leap.
Oh, I remember that. Oh boy, yeah, I remember that.
I've never forgotten that show. And I used to watch the A-Team as well, but Quantum Leap, because it was about this guy who would somehow jump into the bodies of other people. And he wouldn't just jump into the bodies, but he would jump into their life. And he would like he'd wake up, or he'd like suddenly be walking down the street as this other person. And there was that hologram. What was his name? Sam. Do you remember?
Sam, yeah.
Yeah. And he used to help him figure out why he was supposed to be there. And it was to like save somebody's life or to change, the trajectory of something. And I remember watching that as a kid and just thinking, how damn cool to live a zillion lives in one. How cool.
Yeah.
And so that really stuck with me. And I think that's maybe had an influence into the way that I've decided to jump in and out of stuff, because this character, he learned something from being all these different people. He'd be a black woman, and he'd be a massive white guy, and he'd be a kid, and he'd be an old man, and and all these different things. He learned something, and I've never forgotten that show. I thought it would be really cool. I've always wondered what it'd be like to be a tiny white man. Seriously,
I don't really know where to go from there.
If I was to walk down the street as a white man, not even tall, tiny or big or whatever, but just as a white male, how would people interact with me differently than the way they currently do? I find all that super interesting, but that show, it really stuck with me. And I think that might be why I'm like, okay, how many more experiences can I get in this?
And you have impact on other people's lives now, don't you? You help to change the trajectory of people's lives now in your own way.
Yeah, love it.
I think they've done a modern remake of Quantum Leap, because I was scrolling through the TV guide the other night, and Quantum Leap came up, and when I was like, oh wow, watch that. And when I clicked on it, it was some new rubbish that wasn't the Quantum Leap I remember. So I'm not watching that.
No, it was good. Loved it.
Debbie said that applied to me also. Inspiration growing up. I was just, up until about the age of 13, 14, I was all American football. So I was going to move to America, and I was going to be middle linebacker for the Dallas Cowboys. So anyone in the Dallas Cowboys or the NFL back in the day was just, right, that's what I'm going to do. Then I found rugby. So from then on, it was just David Soul, the old captain of Scotland, front row. He was a massive inspiration. Had a poster of him up on me bedroom wall. It was pretty much, it was just the rugby players of the day, like the sort of early to mid 90s. It was Finlay Calder, people like that. Any sort of rugby buffs from that sort of era will know who Finlay Calder is. Met him one day, and he was everything that I always thought he would be. He was like, people say don't meet your heroes. Well, I met him, and he was everything. A tiny man, but solid as a rock. And just wow, what a character. And then these days, who's my inspiration these days? Cool. Geesh. I think that's maybe what I'm lacking, I don't think is there anyone that blimey, I'd never thought about that.
It doesn't have to be somebody famous. It can be somebody, like if I was to, if I'm thinking of somebody that I actually know, this is going to sound so cheesy. The first thing that springs to mind is my son.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's so pure. He's a kid, eh?
Yeah.
The way his mind works, the way he's so inquisitive and curious, and non-judgmental and just,
Yeah.
he hasn't got all that baggage of years and years of like having your heart broken and being disappointed with stuff and you know what I mean, and having responsibilities. He's just a pure
Life hasn't got to him yet. Yeah.
what an inspiration to be able to live like that.
Yeah.
It's really,
Yeah.
really pure. But you know, when you were talking about having pictures in your bedroom, it reminded me when I was like his age, I used to have Daley Thompson and
Oh,
Cole
yeah.
and Flojo. Just
Yeah.
athletics I would watch for hours and hours and hours. I was convinced I was going to go to the Olympics. Yeah.
What would be your event?
I was into sprinting then. Anything that was pure power, not long distance, but just like, just dashing. And but it's funny, isn't it? All those things that we loved as kids.
Yeah.
Back.
I've not thought about a lot of that for a long time. Do you know? I mean, again, my mum was inspiration to me. Like when she battled cancer, and then sadly after she passed away, the words "live your life," you know, the words that are up there, you know, that has been inspiration. I'd say pretty much ever since, really. Probably until the last couple of years. I think I forgot about that, really. I need to focus back on that because I just sort of, that was do the world trip. I did that. And then it was start getting the channel going. And I think maybe I've just been treading water. Maybe I've just got complacent.
You're in the comfort zone. And your motto is live your life.
Yeah.
So do you think, I know that you're achieving and you're very successful.
I don't feel like I
You clearly are, but how much are you really living your life?
Yeah. A few people have said that to me of late, of like, you know, it's all one thing and not anything else, really. So, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I found it. I think I'm seeing that switch.
Hey.
Right, okay,
sometimes I have conversations with people about jumping on the personal side of the coaching, and sometimes we decide we're not a right fit for each other for whatever reason, but they all come away with a switch for the conversation that we have. Like, I never thought about it like that before. You know, they come onto a call with me thinking we're going to talk about protein and muscle mass, but we have to talk about so much more before we even get to that. And they come away with like, okay, I get messaged afterwards saying, thank you. I'm gonna do something now. Thank you.
I bet. I find these podcasts so useful for me personally because you vocalize stuff. You know, you talk about stuff that I would never. I probably just would never. I'd certainly never chat to about. You know, I'd never think about myself. You're thinking about other stuff all the time, but you come on this and you chat with people about all different things, and it forces you to to get quite what's the word, introspective. Is that the word when you start looking inside? Yeah. I find it really useful coming on here.
It's like a little therapy, isn't it?
It is. A lot of people have said that to me after, you know, when we finished. They're like, God, I really enjoyed that. Or a couple of days later, they're like, that's really got me thinking about this or got me thinking about that. And you're like, oh, cool. Yeah, me too.
Yeah. You're serving people, aren't you? And you're serving yourself and you're serving other people at the same time. It's brilliant.
It's cool. Yeah. Cheers for that, Debbie. I think you've maybe helped me there. I'm feeling something, yeah. Anyway, Two Bob Rocket. Good morning. Hope you're both well. A bit late in the evening now, Bob, but you know. I was never good at PE. A bully of a teacher, only interested in football, rugby and running. I was never good at PE. A bully of a teacher, only interested in rugby, football and running, as they were all outside so he could have a smoke. I think that's why he wasn't interested in PE. Yeah. I was fittest when I went skiing many years ago. At 65 now, my exercise is walking the dog. Anyway, my question. These days, I find myself with stiff joints in the morning. What exercise can I do to alleviate this before I need a Zimmer to go for a midnight pee?
Oh, bless. Okay, so it's difficult for me to just jump on and give exercises
Yeah.
because I don't know what conditions you've got. Like if I said, do a deadlift, for example, not that I would suggest that, but as an example, how are your hamstrings? How are your calves? If I say just do squats and I want your thighs to be parallel to the floor, well, if you've got tight calves, you can't do that because you need to have loose calves. So it depends what your body is doing right now, what injuries you've got, what impingements you've got, what kind of imbalance you have from left to right. But it's definitely not too late to do something. If you haven't done anything for a while and you're 65, you're walking the dog, which is great. So that's what we call steady state cardio. If you do steady state cardio, 50 to 60% of your maximum heart rate, which is 220 minus your age, then that is generally speaking fat burning. So you should be, making sure that you're staying, your body is not packing away the fat reserves as much as possible. It's not going to work your heart as much as higher intensity cardio, but depending on what your goal is, would depend on where your intensity rate would be. But I would suggest doing things like gentle stretching, again, depending on what your body can handle, and things like watching not just the movement, but making sure that you have enough water intake. Thinking about, what are your food choices? Are you getting enough sleep? Because I could just say, here's 10 exercises to do. But if you haven't slept well enough the night before, then that could actually be quite stressful for your body. So it's a whole combination of things. But the walking is great. You can gently stretch your hamstrings and your calves, your quads. That's front of your upper thigh, the back of your upper thigh, the back of your lower leg. That's something that when you're walking, you'll need to be able to keep able, in order to take the step. There's the little tiny muscle that you need to be able to push off your back leg. Core is essential. So one handy tip, they call it the drawing in maneuver. So you pull, if I were to drill a hole in your spine at the back and pull hold of your belly button from the inside of your body and pull it, that's drawing in. Another way to visualize it is if you've got a pair of jeans out of the cupboard that are way too small and you're convinced they still fit. And you get them up over your thighs and you're wiggling your hips in and you've got them over your bum. And then there's a gap like this and you need to do the zip up and you're going to pull the zip and pull in. It's not breathing in, it's pulling. Like I'm doing it as I'm sitting here. You're pulling in your navel all the way in to do the zip up. That you could just do anywhere. You can do it now while you're sitting chatting to me.
I am. As you're talking, I'm like, pull that in. I'm getting cramp.
That will protect your spine in your normal everyday activities. It's probably one of the most important things to do.
I was having a little giggle there because as you were talking about, pulling those jeans out that are too small, we used to have a guy that I worked with back in the day in the old Bill, and he was adamant. He was like, I think he used to say he was 28 or 30-inch waist, and it was just one look. You were like, you're definitely not. And he's just like, I'm looking at so he'd literally drop his trousers, and he was like a 30 or 30. It was small, but the thing was, it's like he basically lifted his stomach up to get the trousers done, and then everything just went woof round about it. But he got into those trousers.
So in theory, yeah.
There you go then, Bob. Gordon,
so Bob,
sorry.
Keep moving. Is it Bob?
He's called Bob, but his real name's actually Gordon.
Oh, Gordon. So keep moving, Gordon. Definitely. Don't stop walking the dog. Activity, because, if you don't, what do they say? If you don't use it, you'll lose it.
Yeah.
It's like with everything. If you learn a language and you don't use it, or you're not sort of immersed in it, then you'll not lose it completely, but you won't be able to use it as much as possible as you used to. And it's the same with movement. It's the same with I developed this skateboarding business in Belgium.
Oh yeah.
So you've got guys that are learning, like my son learned a kickflip. It's a trick that everybody wants to be able to do. It took him 6 months and he could do it like bang, bang, bang every single time. Well, if you don't do it for 6 months, you can't do it like every single time again. So don't stop moving. And just do gentle stretches, stretch your neck to the side, stretch your arms out. bottom half of your body if you want to be able to keep walking, and core.
I find stretching really, again, I talk a good game, but I don't do any stretching at the moment. But when I did stretch, I found just the simple stretch was so beneficial. And there's loads of apps that you can get, free apps that you can get that just take you through like it's like 8-minute stretch routine in the morning. But again, there's me spouting the gospel and not following through. But I did feel good when I did do it.
You don't need to worry, because you're going to jump on this group program for 6 weeks. Yeah. And I've got, I think it's a 7-minute stretch program. So for people that are like, oh, this 25-minute workout is a bit much, as long as you move, and you don't stop moving, then it's progression, isn't it?
Yep. Right, Gordon, are you in with me, mate? Let's do it.
Come on, Gordon.
He's got another little question. He says, Jane, do you ever miss Gladiators enough to challenge friends to random obstacle course races at parties? Or is that just a perk for special occasions?
Oh, let me think about that. No.
Do you know, you must get competitive, surely.
I'm competitive by nature. Yeah. Less so as I get older, because I feel less inclined to have to prove something, whereas I think I did for loads of reasons we don't need to go into now. But I feel like I'm much more comfortable with myself and who I am, so I don't need to. I think sometimes that's where competitiveness comes from. And so I don't have it as much as I used to, but I'm still quite competitive. I just want to always show up the best version of me. But it's more about competitive with me and what my values are and what I expect me to show up as. So if somebody in the gym, for example, is lifting more than me, then good on you. I'll go and give you a high five. I do have a pugil stick. It's downstairs. And
that was all in my head. All I'm thinking was, how good must it have felt to just start whacking people with a pugil stick? That looked awesome, that game.
It was literally my favourite game. I love
it.
Did I tell you last time about Paul Daniels, when he told me about the mind, how to hit people even harder? I was doing pantomime with Paul Daniels, and he asked me to do an arm.
Did you like it? Not a lot. Sorry, I had to get that in.
Couldn't resist it. No, he asked me to do an arm wrestle with him, and he must have been like 60 or something then, and I really struggled. I want to say I really struggled and leave it there, but I might have even lost. I can't remember.
Against Paul Daniels?
Conveniently, yeah. I might have. Yeah, it didn't go the way I thought it would go, let's say that. And he explained to me that he uses this mind over matter. It's all in the magic. And it was about leverage. So in his mind, he moved everything so that he was not going to push against me. He was pushing through. And he like talked me through it, and he explained how it works. So the next time that I had to hit a girl around the head with a pugil stick, I realized that I was subconsciously slowing down before I hit her. I really want to hurt her. And I knew that I was going to batter her if I really did hit as hard as I could. And I didn't really want to, because I always used to say sorry afterwards. So I then moved her head, and I literally imagined that it was here, so that I went through everything I had, and it changed the game.
Wow.
Yeah.
I bet you never thought you would get winning advice like that from Paul Daniels, did you?
Paul Daniels, yeah, in Panto. I was probably dressed as a genie or something while he was telling me.
I was going to say, what were you playing in the pantomime?
I was always a magical creature. I was never a princess. Don't know why. I'm not really princess material. I was always a genie or a fairy godmother, something like that.
Gotcha. Yeah. Right, cheers for that one, Gordon. Next one, PD. What a great resume, Jane. Well done. Only one question from me. Of all those achievements, which was the most enjoyable to do, and what would you love to do next? Oh, and one other thing. Have you ridden around the world yet? Bruce may mention he has. Thanks very much. Cheers. Yeah. So what's your proudest achievement from everything that you've done so far?
I don't think you could pick one, can you? Because they're all God, does that sound big-headed if I say they're all amazing?
No, God, no.
Like, they're all the experiences that I would just say like, oh my God, that was amazing. It's all for different reasons. Like I remember riding the Super Tenere with, forgive me, some guy, I can't remember his name. He was a Dakar rider and he was on the trip with us. And just seeing Atlas Mountains on one side and just plains on the other. And there was nothing else within sight apart from he and I on these bikes, just like, but I needed to be a motorcycle journalist in order to get the invitation to go on it. So was that the best thing? It wasn't, there was no like massive payday involved. It was just an experience I will always remember, like the scent in the air and just the sound of the bike and just feeling like, the world is so big. It was just incredible. And running out into the arena in a pair of knickers and hitting people over the head with a big stick was also cool. Riding Christopher Mulan's bike and just thinking, this is a MotoGP bike. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. But like super cool. There's so many things. And it's not always work related. Becoming a mum at 40 when I thought I probably wasn't going to do that. Was also pretty cool. Having a conversation with Susie Perry and saying, they've offered me the MotoGP job when she left and went to Formula One. Oh, do you think I should do it? And she was like, yeah, but you're going to have to choose because you're 40. So it's either MotoGP or it's like, okay, I think I want a family because doing both will be very difficult.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can't pick one.
Is there one, I think you've probably answered I was going to say, is the one that you're most proud of?
Yeah, it would have to be my son then. Yeah.
As soon as I said it, I was like, well, it's going to be your son, isn't it?
Yeah, and the funny thing is, when the BBC called me and said, like, the job is up for grabs, I think MTN had run a poll or something, like who would you like to see Susie replace Susie? And apparently, I didn't even know the poll was up. I didn't know any of all this. And somebody called me and said, "Hey, they picked you. Like you were the
That's
famous."
cool.
Yeah. And then the BBC saw the poll and then called me and said, "Do you want to?" So I went and had a meeting. I was riding a Divi at the time, Yamaha Diversion, and I got up at 4 a.m. because I was living in Belgium, and it was freezing cold. So I had all my like plug-in heated gear, and I rode all the way to London. Had the meeting, and I think they expected me to turn up all like suited and booted, and I was just in all this kit. And I had the conversation, and it was quite clear. I was like, I think I was almost 40. That if I did it, it would mean lots of long haul travel. And I'd spoken to Susie about it before, and she was like, "You'll love it. Like you're so ready for it, but it's not easy. And if you want to get pregnant." Live TV, long haul, it's really stressful on your body. So just think about it. And the more the conversation that I had, and it was clear that if I was stepping into her massive shoes, which is daunting enough because she's incredible. And
she's MotoGP. Now she's back. I can't imagine her not being there.
Yeah, exactly. And to jump into her shoes when I'm not 100% committed.
Yeah.
One thing I've learned, Bruce, if you're not 100% committed with full on passion, it shows.
Yeah.
It shows. And I'm not good at stuff if I'm not really, really, really 100% committed because it shows.
Exactly the same. Yeah.
Yeah. So I had this conversation with them, and then I came home and I'd made up my mind, and I said in the meeting, I'm going to pass. And I came home and people were saying to me, so did you get the job? And I remember saying to someone, I decided to take the one thing, it's like once in a lifetime opportunity. I'm going to go for that. And they all thought I meant MotoGP. The once in a lifetime as a 40-year-old woman is not a job if you want a kid.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the day that he was born super early, so we had some complications. He was born very early, had emergency C-section. We were both in hospital for quite a while. And I was in the bed. He was in the incubation area being tended to. And the screen came on, and it was the first round of MotoGP. And it was so surreal because it was like 4 or 5 months later. And
Oh,
so, well, it took me 4 or 5 months to get pregnant, and then he
yeah,
came 6 months early. So the
yeah.
whole thing was very, very short. And he's in there. I'm watching the screen, and it was Jenny Gow. Do you remember when she took over in the beginning? And I was
Yeah, yeah.
watching Jenny, who I'd also met once before, and I was thinking, this is all meant to be. It's all meant to be. She's in there cracking it. I've got the child, like, wonderful. Sorry, I
It's
went
weird, isn't it? How life, the stars align sometimes, don't they? Just in
on.
some weird, magical way. Other
Do
times they don't,
do
sadly.
they,
But
or do you think it's just how we choose to? Like, life is your reality. What do they say? Reality is your perception of reality. So, do they
yeah,
really
yeah.
align, or is it that you're comfortable and happy with your perception of the alignment?
It's a good point, but I genuinely I don't know because there's been loads of times in life where I've just looked and thought, how is this like
Yeah.
how have I got here? How have I arrived at this specific point of time where I am, like somewhere in the world, surrounded by like I'm surrounded by the people that I needed to be surrounded by at that point when that occurred. Say I don't know, like let's go to the world trip. Something happens to the bike, get a puncture, you break down, something happens. You think, oh Christ, I'm foobarred here. And then someone just rocks up and goes, oh yeah, I'm a mechanic, I can fix that. You're like, I'm in the middle of nowhere. How has this happened? And it doesn't even need to be that extreme. It's just, I've had loads of times in life where things like that have happened. And afterwards, I always think to myself, how has that happened? Like, what's put all the bits in place for that to happen at that point when I needed it to happen?
So wait, did you ride around the world then?
Very good. Very good. Do you know how many people are listening to this going, yeah, very good. Very good. Right, cheers for that one, PD. Next one, Andy. Evening both, or should I say good morning? No, it's... Did we record this in the morning the last time then?
Maybe.
Can't remember.
No.
But anyway, he says, hi. Anyway, just a couple of questions, if I may. Firstly, Jane, how do you find being in a field where females are in a minority and unfortunately still put into stereotypes, i.e. on the grid of any BSB race? Secondly, it's obvious that you have found a way to maintain and improve your own fitness over a long time. As a person who has always cycled between doing lots or nothing, any ideas would be helpful. Okay, so... how do you find being a female in a minority or majority male environment? Does that make sense?
Yeah. How lucky am I? How lucky am I to be different and to stand out? The downside is if you're different and you're not very good, then everyone's going to notice if you do something wrong. But the upside is if you choose to be in arenas that you're passionate about, which means that you invest all your resources into being the best you can. Because, when people say, oh, that you work so hard and you must be so stressed, you're only stressed about things that you don't enjoy, that you don't love. You're obsessed about things that you do love and you do enjoy.
Yeah.
So, like with your podcast and riding bikes and stuff, it's not like work. So if you...
It is. I tell my wife this is work all the time. Don't break the illusion.
Secret. So, no, I think in the very beginning, there might have been I might have fallen into that lie that, no, I would say lie. The story that people can sometimes feel really comfortable with, that, it's very difficult because you're a minority. And sometimes it is very difficult. But I found in my life personally that every time I'm a minority, it's actually to my advantage. Or maybe that's my perception, that I make sure it is to my advantage.
Yeah.
For example, my son, obviously he's got brown skin, and where we are right now, where I live, the racism here is really subconscious bias. It's not really obvious. Yeah, it's really subconscious bias. So he has arguably a disadvantage because some people, like if you go for a job or you go to rent a house or you go to the bank or something, sometimes if your surname doesn't sound very, very Belgian or your accent is not quite very Belgian, there's a subconscious bias that puts you on the back foot. So
Wow.
sometimes it's not great to be the minority, but sometimes you can find a workaround to make it your advantage. And I think that's just a mindset thing. I know there's people out there going to be like, that's utter bollocks. You know, I'm a female or, I don't know, disabled or something, and it's a real disadvantage and there's no workaround. I get it. I get it. But for me personally, I've always found it to be an advantage.
I mean, we don't know each other particularly. We only know each other from chatting on here. But you strike me as a person who would make a success of whatever it is you turn your mind to, whether you're male, female, anything in between, doesn't matter. You know, you just strike me as that sort of person. That you're focused, you're driven, and you'll excel at what you focus on.
No, thank you. I think it's
And
like you say, the perception, and just it comes back to my whys. And do you remember
yeah,
when we first spoke about me being in the ambulance service?
yeah,
That's
yeah,
like the deepest. It keeps coming back to like seeing my mum aging and being in this ambulance at 19 years old and seeing somebody's like in a not very good state at all. And 5 minutes before they were fine. They were just crossing the
yeah,
road.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
now everything's upside down, and all those experiences have all built up to like, I just want to wring everything out of my life before the
Yeah.
sponge is dry. Like, just, yeah. So
I think.
I don't know.
Sorry, interrupt there. I think it's same with you. You know, my time in the old Bill and seeing exactly that. How, you know, the amount of times, sadly, where you'd have to go and tell someone that their loved one isn't coming home that night. You know, and the old that sliding doors thing, where in the blink of an eye, the life's gone. You know, for sometimes for no fault of their own, it's an accident. They've tripped, they've fallen. Other times, you know, horrible things have happened. But that really did sort of perpetuate this live your life thing. So when my mum was passing and she said that you only get one chance at this, look after those that you love, but live your life. I think that's maybe added to it all with me, in that you've seen, like you have, you've seen that happen to people where they haven't got the opportunity to live their life because they didn't know the end was coming, and that's it, it's gone. So yeah. I think that's maybe why it really stuck home with me. It really hit home and has driven me so far. But that's quite interesting. Like talking about this, I have lost track of that. I have forgotten about how much that means. So yeah, I think we have found that switch.
Yeah. I think it'd be interesting for you to just like sit down with it for a while and set a timer or dedicate some time. Say to your wife, I'm just going to go for a walk or have a think or whatever it is you do. I like to meditate a lot, and then I can just really like zone in a bit. But just like think back, how did you feel when your mum said that? The very first time she said it, how did you feel and what fire did it light? And just see it. Is it still like burning somewhere? Can you like stoke it? Because that's your why right there, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I can feel it sort of igniting as we speak. Got to keep it going. I'm going to get on the roar when we finish this. What else does Andy say? He says, finally, for Bruce, as you have mentioned before, a pattern of starting your own fitness journey only for life to get in the way. What will be your New Year's resolution this coming year? Have a good one. Looking forward to listening to you both. So obviously this is from November last year, isn't it? That's when we did the first one.
Yeah.
Again, I don't really do like New Year's resolutions. I just kind of, if I'm going to do it, I just do it. I always thought, what's the point of waiting? What's the point of waiting for like the 1st of January? Because just do it tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If you're going to do it, do it. But I think I've always started that for about the last 3 years now, 4 years. I've started that rowing cycle basically on the 1st of January, when I've got, or 5th of January, whenever I've got back from being back home for Hogmanay, it's like, right, get back on the rower and let's get to it. So I suppose it was that New Year's resolution, I suppose, yeah. All right. Okay, I've just talked myself into it, Andy. I do have New Year's resolutions. It was to get back on the rower, which I did do, and it didn't last very long and I fell off it again. Yeah.
They say, some people say, are you going to do something? What do they say? Is it one day or day one?
Yeah.
So are you just going to be like putting it off? I'm going to do it one day, or is today going to be day one?
Wow.
The first day, I'm just going to do it.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was listening to somebody the other day. I can't remember who it was. They were talking about like SAS guys when they're like in the woods and they're lost. They don't know which way to go, and they've got to survive. So what they do is they get up and they take a step, and then they take another step, and they take another step. Because even if they're moving in the wrong direction, they're still moving, and they will figure out that it's the wrong direction and they can turn around.
Yeah.
But just sitting there, that is not an option, because you're going to starve to death or freeze to death, or someone's going to find you. So you have to move. So sometimes with wanting to change something in your life, some people wait for motivation, determination, and then they're going to take action. I tend to take action and then start to feel something, and then it builds. So just do something. Even if it's the wrong thing, just do something. Just waiting.
100%. As you're talking, I'm thinking of the old just make a decision mentality. You know, it's that thing. It doesn't matter if it's the wrong decision, just make a decision. And I can think of so many times in the old bill where you'd be dealing with something and you'd be waiting for like a skipper or governor to make the decision about what we're going to do here. And if you had someone that was incapable of making the decision, how frustrating it was. And it was just like, you just be like, I don't care, just tell us to do something and we'll crack on with that and we'll figure it out. You know, it used to be so frustrating. So yeah, doesn't matter if it's the wrong decision, just make the decision and figure it out as you go. Yeah, very true.
And that's partly why the students that I have in the personal coaching side, and it would be the same in the group format, you're waiting for the motivation. You know you've got to do something and you're not doing it. There's got to be a reason. Let's try and figure it out. And in the meantime, you sign up and it's all delivered in the app, and you click on it. Day one, do this, you do it. Day two says this, you do it. Day three, you fill out the worksheet and you do the work. And then you're moving. And then hopefully by week 6, you're like, feeling pretty good. Something's gone click. You know, it's at least you've moved for the 6 weeks than just sat in the woods thinking, this isn't great.
See, for your program there, the group program, excuse me, could we choose the group that we do this with? I'm just thinking in my head as you were talking, if I was to put out on my platforms and go, right, you know, I need this kick up my arse. This is what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be working with Jane, explain it all out to people, and then invite other people in and say, right, okay, who's up for it? We'll get together. We form our own group and we make each other accountable. We kick each other up the arse when we need it and we motivate each other.
Yeah.
Would that work to do something like that?
How it's going to work in my platform, I'll share the link with you when it's up and ready, like close to the date we'll launch. I'm thinking of launching probably mid to the end of April, so give you time to get this out and we can run it in MCN and stuff. And then on the day that it launches, it will start on a Monday, so everyone's got time to come in, apply, register, make the payment, everybody's in, and then you'll automatically get everything delivered to you. On each day, you'll get something to do. So like a worksheet or a workout on mobility or yoga, some nutritional tips or advice or habits, and it will go through like this. And then you'll also automatically get put into the group. So in the group, everyone who's in the program will be in the group. And I have some personal ones too in the app. Yeah. And that's how you communicate. So I'll be able to see everybody's messages. I can jump in when I feel like it's appropriate. In my personal coaching, then I'm available 24/7 to my clients, which is a different price bracket. But this one is in the group. So if people are in it together as friends, you can also have your own WhatsApp group or something outside.
Okay.
But it is the point that everyone's in the group together so that you can support each other, people that you don't even know.
Uh-huh.
And what I find in my personal coaching group, it's really a community. So some people are reaching out for help and other people are giving help, which is also makes you more accountable because you know you can help someone and what you're not going to say anything, and it could be something simple like, I'm stuck for protein-rich breakfast. Does anybody got any ideas? And I wait a little bit and see who's going to jump in. And then somebody goes, oh, here's a pancake mix, or here's, what I do with my Greek yogurt, or did you know you could do this with cottage cheese or something? And then it's so nice, really lovely.
Right. Okay. Do you know pricing yet for this sort of thing?
Yeah, it's going to be $4.95 in euros. So that will be slightly less in pounds, won't it?
It's about 23p, isn't it? Yeah. No, it's not. It's not. I've just I'm doing a tour to Australia next year with my company Chicken Strips, and at the moment the exchange rate is so good for us going to Australia. It's amazing. Oh, no. It's fantastic. You're just like, oof, I wish it was like that for like when I go to Spain with the euro. That would be amazing, but sadly it's not.
I'm just Googling it. It's like just over £400
gotcha.
in sterling.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Come on then, folks. Who's up for it? Let me know. Let's do it. Last one from Patreon, Patrick Collum. Wow. First off, what a wonderful guest. I hope you're both well and you're enjoying being put to shame, Bruce, by a professional athlete and journalist. It's been very enlightening. I found it very useful. Only kidding. In all seriousness, my question, if Bruce isn't too overwhelmed, I think you mean by now, is what do you do personally to bring your own style to things, be it journalism, training, or whatever you feel like talking about? Not to blow smoke up Bruce's bottom, but as an example to help illustrate my question, he did a video with himself and friends thrashing around on 125s. My other half starting going out with me on the bike based on that video. So it was very encouraging. Oh, that's great to hear. So
what's that?
What was the point? Be it journalist, what you feel like talking about. What do you do personally to bring your own style to things?
Is that for me or for you?
Yeah, that's for you. Yeah.
What do I do to bring my own style to things? Well, I don't know, just be me, I guess.
Yeah, I know. It's all you can be, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. Try and keep things really simple so that it's not overcomplicating. I find that if I was to give all the things that all my knowledge about health and fitness and mindset and stuff in one go, then it would just be so overwhelming. And it's not necessary for Gen Pop to know everything about level 3 nutrition. It's just not necessary. So I think I try to keep things really, really simple so that it's sustainable. But what do I do? My own style? Well, I'm just me. So I just do me.
You're just lucky you're awesome, Jane. It works.
I don't know about that, but I can't be anything else, can I?
Cheers for that one, Patrick. And I'm chuffed, mate, that you enjoyed that 125 series of vids. They were a lot of fun. Yeah, it's awesome.
To jump on the bike with him. That's really cool.
Brilliant. Next thing, she'll be doing a CBT and getting out there herself.
Yes.
Happy days.
Yes.
Right, that's everything on the clan. We've still got a few over on Instagram, and I think there's a couple on Facebook as well. Have you got time?
Yeah, go ahead.
Right, lovely. Okay. So we head across to Instagram. First one, username Kate. Yes. I loved her on the last podcast. One of my favourite ones so far. How do you stay disciplined and motivated? I used to be so disciplined with my health, but I've lost my mojo as I've gotten older. Any tips? You and me both, Kate. You and me both.
Yeah, do you know there's so many things in that? Well, Kate, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, hi, Kate. So many things there. My group, in my personal coaching group, they're called the Midlife Mojo Group. because that's what people say to me. I've lost my mojo. And what do I do to stay motivated and committed and all of that? I don't do anything because it's my identity. There are days, I had a day 2 days ago where I got up and I just didn't really fancy working out. I was
I was
just
going to
tired.
ask you that. I was going to ask.
I was just tired and my knees were hurting. I've had operations on my knees and I was like, whoa. And like you, I got a mountain of work and I just thought I could get through so much stuff if I don't go to the gym. But it just feels wrong. It's just not me to not go. So I went, I did 25 minutes and it wasn't, like the most amazing workout, but I lifted heavy and short and I came home and I felt proud. I did it. And it's all those days that actually make all the difference. If you only went on the days where you're like, yeah, today I'm going to go and have a massive workout and everything's going to be cool. Yeah, okay, great. But it's all on the days where you don't really want to go and you just go for 15 minutes. They're the ones that count. And as I said, the motivation and the determination. Was I motivated on that day? No, actually. Was I determined? I didn't really feel it. So the only thing that's left is my identity and my why. And that is what makes me go.
It's the why, isn't it? Well, I think for me, it's the why is the biggest, because I know everything that you're saying there. I remember how good it feels to just go and work out, whatever it is. And I remember the times when I really, as you said, I really did not want to do it, and you force yourself to go and do it. It used to help being in the Riot Old Bill because we got paid to do it. It was part of the job. So there was no you don't train, you are training, it's happening. But you always felt better afterwards. Always felt better after.
Yeah.
And I know I'll feel better when I do it, but it's just that. Why do some of us let that sort of demon win, the easy option? Why does that take over sometimes?
I think it's all about priorities and again, your identity. Like, for example, there are people here who listen who their car must be clean or their bike has to have clean wheels. You can't go out if your wheels are like dirty or there's smudges on the tank or something. It's just not okay. Or,
I'm not one of those people, Jen.
there are
But there are.
that,
Oh yeah.
the
There are.
car's got to be clean.
Yeah.
Or the garden's got to be tidy, or you can't have an overflowing wash basket, or whatever it is. Yeah. The fridge has got to be spotless. Whatever it is that is your non-negotiable is really important to you because that's just the kind of person you are. And so if you're the kind of person who just goes to the gym 3 or 4 times a week, then it's just what you do. And yeah, there are days where you really don't want to, but it feels more odd not to. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I've been that person a long time ago. I've been that person, but yeah, it feels so far away and so far out of touch now. You know, for me personally, I hate the fact that I am now that one that doesn't do it. You know, because you just did before. I just did. You know.
The other thing that I would say that helps me on the days where I'm really like, not really up for it, which I must admit aren't that frequent. The fact that Jerry, who I told you about, the 80-year-old.
Oh yeah.
The fact that he's going to be there, I just I can't. Because his face lights up when he sees me, and I light up when I see him. I'm like, Jerry, what are you working on today? Back and legs. Whoa, what are you going to do? Like, you know. And if I was to sit here, I don't know, on my backside, knowing that Jerry 80 is beasting in the gym, then
just getting at it,
nah. I'm not going to let that happen. No. So he's in a way like part of my accountability.
So what would be a tip then to say somebody like Kate who is like me, is struggling to find that mojo, is struggling to do it? Is there like a starting block other than get your ass to wherever it is and just do it?
Yeah, starting blocks are figure out your why. That's key, I think. Because as I said, the motivation, you want to lose weight, motivation, my knees hurt, I need to strengthen them. Is that strong enough? If it was, you would be doing it already. So there's got to be something else that's stronger than knowing you need to lose weight, or knowing you've got a heart condition, or knowing you've got diabetes. If you're not doing it already and those are facts, then they're not strong enough reason. So you need to find a strong enough reason that's going to make sure you actually do it. And then the other thing is to find some kind of accountability. So explain to somebody or write it down. I'm really into journaling, but I'm quite woo-woo like that. So I'm into journaling, and then I will write a letter as if I am myself in the future. I've done this since I was in my 20s. I'll write a letter as if I'm that person to the person I am now and say, this is what you got to do. If you want us to be here, this is what you got to do now. I explained it to my son when he was struggling with his exams, and he just wanted to game. And so I was explaining to him, this is something that I've done before. And so he thought about it, and he kind of took it, he adapted the idea and made it his own, and then made it work for him. And then he aced his exams. He was super happy. Not like sense, but he was happy with the results and he was proud of it. And he came home and he said, my future self is so happy with me right now.
That's mint. Awesome.
That's something else that you can do. There's lots of little tricks, but just who do you want to be? Where do you want to be? What kind of person do you want to be that you're going to wake up and be really proud of? Imagine, live it, feel it. Like, what does she wear? What perfume does she wear? What does she eat? Who does she hang out with? What kind of job she's got? Is anything changed? What do you do when you first wake up in the morning when you're that person? And imagine it. And then what do you need to do now to be that person? Or you could just not bother.
Jane, this is all stuff I tell people about. When people go to me, I'd love to do what you've done, you know, the world trip. I'd love to do the dream. Yeah, here we go. You know, when they say to me, I would love to live the dream, but I can't. How did you make it happen? You know, and I turn around to people and say pretty much what you've just said. I'm like, it has to be something that you don't, not that you want to do it, you need to do it. You have to do it. That's your why, isn't it? It's a deep down why. Yeah. And then I say to people, like, just figure out what it is that you want to do, figure out the plan that will get you to that point, put that plan in motion, and just deal with everything that comes along the way and activate the plan, make it happen.
Yeah.
So it's basically what you've just said there, isn't it? It's like, where do you want to be? How are you going to get there? Do it.
It's the why. And then take action. Just take action. And the thing is, the thing that stops us taking action very often is that we think it's got to be perfect. It doesn't. It just has to be action. Imperfect action is still action. So yes, you might not have the latest kit that you want to wear to go to the gym, or you might not have new trainers, or you might not be totally sure what you're doing. But as long as you're doing something, you know, then you're taking action and you're stepping forward. And as we said, even if you're stepping in the wrong direction, you're still stepping, and you'll know it's the wrong direction at some point, and then you can turn around. But even when you do something that you're like, oh, that was kind of a mistake, there's always a learning in there that you will use for something else later. And you're like, oh, if I hadn't have made that mistake, I wouldn't know this. You know?
Yep. Anyway, Kate, what are you talking about? You're like, you've obviously never seen or met Kate. Kate's beautiful. She's beautiful. She's like another sort of, I hate the word, an influencer. She's another bike influencer and can really pedal a bike.
Oh, nice.
And, hey, what are you talking about, Kate? There's nothing of you as it is. Gee whiz.
Kate, you'll be fine. You're fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Right, next one, King Bespoke Creations. Hi both. Question to Jane. What was the biggest life lesson you learned during Gladiator, and does it still affect you now? Oh, I like that one. I like that one.
Yeah. Do you know what? These questions are so funny because, like, I want to answer, and then I know tomorrow I'll be like, oh, I should have said that. But off the top of my head, there was a point in, and I presume you mean the TV show, not the film.
Yeah.
In the TV show, there was a point where
How cool is that to say? Sorry, Jane, but how cool is that? Which Gladiator are you talking?
No, because you said Gladiator and not Gladiators. But I always think Gladiator is the film with the S's. Yeah. Anyway, so there was a point where I was not sure if I was going to be able to keep the job because I was terrified of heights. Well, terrified of falling off something high. And so there were lots of games that just I was so not comfortable with at all. And I was kind of scared of my own shadow, and I was lacking in confidence a lot. Like,
wow.
Yeah, the whole, what do they call it now? Imposter syndrome, another level.
Yeah.
Just, I was not, comfortable. And so I had a chat with my coach, Tony Slaney, and he kind of said to me, you have to figure out where you fit in this. So instead of trying to be like a gladiator and be like the others, you've just got to be you. So who are you in this whole story? And I realized that the duel was a game that a lot of the girls didn't really like. Lightning was amazing. I think that she hardly ever lost it. She was tiny compared to me, but so much skill that woman's got. And I don't know if anyone's seen her on Instagram now. She looks amazing. Bodybuilding competition, she's stunning. But anyway, in those days, it was apparent to me that game really hurts. And so, it didn't really hurt me that much because I'm bigger than most of the girls. So if I could just be me and not try and learn to do somersaults off mats, which I can't do, and play the air guitar with my leg and stuff like that, I just couldn't do it. So why don't I just be me and see how that pans out? Yeah. So I think that's probably one of the things that I'll take forward. And because I embraced who I am, play to my strengths, I learned how to improve on my weaknesses because it built my confidence. Before that, I just felt like, I don't even belong here. Like, I can't do any of those things. And then once I found something I could do and I was proud of it and good at it, then I was like, okay, I can actually try something else. And I was able to, I was never great at some of them, but I was able to expand a little.
It's true though, isn't it? I mean, that's just true in life. Just be you. Don't try to be anyone else. Just be you, and you'll find your place. And I always say it to people who say to me, "How do I grow a YouTube channel?" Or they want to get into that sector. It's like just be you, and you'll attract your community to you, won't you?
Yes.
People sniff out bullshit at the end of the day, don't they? So if you're just you, this is it. Take it or leave it. This is me.
And you'll find your tribe because what you're saying and doing resonates with them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure. Next one, R1 Soul. How are we doing? How you doing, Pete?
Hey.
Was Wolf as grumpy as he looked, or was it all for camera? So many people ask that. Yeah. He was the bad boy, wasn't he, Wolf?
No. He was just. Yeah. I think honestly, he could be a bit grumpy. But when you think about it, he must have been like 45 or something.
I was going to say he was a bit older than everyone else, wasn't he?
He's only 70s now. He must have been in...
No way!
Yeah.
No, shush, no.
Yeah, and he still looks amazing, eh?
Wow.
He's still proper built. Yeah. Because when the new show started airing, I spoke to him on Instagram, and he was like, he was up for coming back and giving the new guys a run for their money.
Really?
100%. I'm sure if they'd have asked him to come on, he would have been there in his Lycra and he would have showed up big time. Yeah, he's heavy and everything. Yeah.
Blimey. Well, sorry, go on.
He could be a bit stroppy, but then he can't be.
But like you said, he must have been in his 40s then, and well, I'm in my late 40s now. I'm pretty grumpy, so I can relate with Wolf. No problem.
I think the show, and they've done the same thing now. I think that they've got their characters are an exaggeration of the people that they really are.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that Legend doesn't really think he's literally the most amazing person on the earth, but he must have a huge degree of self-confidence. He's hugely successful in his own right outside of Gladiators. So, I think that the characters that they portray, like, it's just an exaggeration of who you are anyway. They called me Rio and they said, oh, you're like a bubbly, lively Brazilian carnival. And it's just part of my character, I suppose. Just be like,
Not Raven. Never forget when you said that about the sun, because you're a big blackbird. Oh, no, never mind. Pete also says, are you still in touch with any of the old Gladiators? I've heard you mention a few.
Yeah, just kind of every now and then on Insta, someone will post something or we'll reach out and we just have a little message for something. So, yeah, some of them. Nice.
I suppose it's so much easier these days, isn't it, with social media, and WhatsApp and all the different platforms that we've got. I've got mates that I'm still in touch with almost daily, but I haven't seen in decades.
That's nice.
It is nice, but it's also like you fall into that trap, don't you? Where I kind of feel like I'm still in touch with my mates, but I haven't actually seen them in so long. So it's like you have to make that effort, don't you, to, right, come on, let's get together and go and create mischief.
Yeah. Especially when you live in another country.
What was that?
Especially when you live in another country.
Yeah.
I have to invest in my friendships when I go back to England.
Yeah, absolutely. Pete's got another one. He says, what exercise or exercises do you recommend for a slightly fat knacker to make them more bike fit?
So easy one for that. If you just go to MCN online and Google Jane Omorogbe, I wrote a whole load. I think there was about 7 or 8 different things that you can do as bikers.
That's right.
Yeah. And last week, The Sun produced an article. It's also online. I don't know how you find it though. Maybe I could send you the link because I got it today, about how you can track your food without counting any calories. Without anything. That's how I coach. It's how I live. I don't weigh anything.
Do you not?
No.
Because I had that My Fitness app, and you're forever scanning barcodes and weighing everything.
No, that's not.
That's about a week, and then you're like, oh.
How I live, because I just don't find it works for me. I find that I did in my 20s when it was all like, doing the Gladiators and stuff for a short period, not for long. But then I became so obsessed with thinking about the food and counting all the calories and worrying about it. Obsessing. It just wasn't where I wanted to be in my head. So I use a different method. It's part of the qualifications I have for teaching nutrition. And it's not based on weighing anything at all. So it's just easy.
Right.
You can just assess what you're going to eat by looking at it.
Gotcha. Yeah, that would definitely help. I found a lot of success in losing weight and well, yeah, I lost a lot of weight doing this carb cycling diet. It was I think I saw it in Muscle and Fitness or Men's Health or something years ago, back about 2009, 2010, and it basically worked on. It gave you a scheduled 7-day meal planner, and it was like you ate 5 times a day basically, or 6 times a day, and 2 days were light on, well, there was no rice or potatoes or anything like that. It was really no carbs from that. It was carb in your veg, obviously, and then every 3rd day was carb heavy, so you'd have some potatoes or oats or something like that. And I remember for about 2 weeks, absolutely nothing happened. And then all of a sudden, the weight just started falling off. And I felt amazing. But I was training, a lot at that point. And I think I dropped down to probably the lightest I've ever been as an adult. I think I dropped down to about 15 stone and felt amazing. But I literally just had this meal plan that I just followed. So every Monday I knew exactly what I was eating, every Tuesday, and it didn't bother me. I was single, didn't bother. Then I met my now wife, and I remember her just going, after we'd been together for like 6 months or something. Yeah, she was just kind of like, can we maybe just eat? Like if she wanted to eat with me, she ate the same stuff. And she was like, we maybe just have something different tonight. And then that's it. I'm off. I don't know. It's that switch again. It's like, well, if I'm not doing it, then I'm not doing it, and fall off the wagon, don't you?
That's why I don't give diet menu plans and diets like that, because you don't learn anything.
Yeah.
You can't then put a plate together because you just followed a plan, and then you can't learn. I want to teach. My goal is that I want to help people show up as their best selves in the second half of their lives. I will go on and on about.
All right, Jane. All right.
Really, it's in my head because that's where I'm at. So I want to help people show up the best selves in the second half, and I want to be the last coach that they'll ever need. That's the two things that is motivating me, because if I do my job well enough in however long someone's with me, and some people are with me for a couple of years because they just like it, because they like the connection, they like the motivation, they like the community. And some people are with me for shorter, usually not less than 6 months, but that's why I'm making the 6-week one so that people can just dive into it and get the basics. But yeah, then you can learn these skills that you can take on long term and not be like, I did a diet, then I stopped, and I put it all back on, and then some.
Right. You're going to change my life.
Yes.
It's got to happen. I think this is the last one on Instagram. This is, where's he gone? Real Schwerty. Hello to both. I'd be interested to hear if she would be interested in doing some kind of long distance or round the world trip like Bruce has done. Have I mentioned that? Yeah. Have you got any sort of long distance travel in mind?
I'd love to. I'd really love to. Yeah. Do you remember what was his name? Nick Saunders.
Oh God,
yeah. So
he's still doing it now.
I've had lots of conversations with him over the years, and
have you?
Yeah, I find it so interesting. Anyone who just jumps off and the whole exploration and just feeling free, and I'd love to. I've got a 14-year-old son, so it's not going to happen anytime soon. I did actually say something to him last week about, why don't we just do a road trip? Like, pull you out of school, let's just go. But yeah, it's not going to happen realistically anytime soon, but I would love to one day. All honesty, I'm not sure whether I'd want to do it on a bike or in a camper. Because I love, I've had some wonderful trips on 2 wheels, and the freedom that it gives is second to none. Literally, you cannot compare. Well, I've always found somewhere to sleep. I've always found food. I've always figured out what to do when it started snowing or raining, and that's part of the adventure. I've done a couple of trips in a little camper van, and I also like that too. So I'm starting to think, when the time comes, because I can't imagine checkered flag going and I haven't done it, so it's something that I want to do. I can imagine having a little bit of both. So some kind of camper where I can, I don't know, have a bike hanging off the back or something, or I don't know.
Best of both worlds,
Yeah, I don't know. I just like the idea of having a bed that I can just stop and sleep.
See, I toured. I did some touring in Europe with my son when he was about 10. Yeah, he's about 10, 11. And he sat on the back of the jigsaw. So we had the tent, all our luggage, him and me on this jigsaw. Just went off around sort of mainland Europe, really. And we both loved it. I mean, it was such a good time, father-son sort of bondy time. And my boy's 27 now. He'll be 28 this year. And we kind of drifted apart quite a lot now, but he was talking last year. I remember him saying, I would love to do another one of those trips. Even if we just did it in a car, it would be cool just to go off and do that sort of thing again. I think we're going to have to make that happen, because we have drifted apart quite a lot now, sadly. But it was great. It was great to do stuff like that and show him. I sort of did that then because I had this world trip in mind. Well, I'd already committed I was going to do it. So it was a way of showing him what I was going to be doing, while I was away for, could have been a couple of years. So that's kind of the reason I took him with me then. But it's nice to see now, and him as a man, him saying, I really enjoyed that and this is what I got from it and I'd love to go and do it again. So, right, we'll make that happen.
Clearly had a massive impact on him, having done that with you.
Yeah, but you're right, travel, especially on a bike, it's just, I mean, travel's travel, isn't it? But I do think traveling by bike, I don't think I can, maybe going by push bike or something, that might be kind of similar, but it's that freedom you spoke about. And
such a good feeling though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like I've told you before, I used to just pack stuff, like minimum, and then just get off. Like get a one-way ticket on the ferry and get off in France and just think, right, now what? And
no plan, just go.
Yeah, find a road that looks a bit like a piece of warm spaghetti has just gone flop on tarmac. And then I would ride the road and then stop and ride it back and then stop and then ride it again and stop. And it would start to get dark and I'd think, oh, no, I'm not done yet. And I remember one bit of road I must have ridden, it was really long, I must have ridden up and down it about 10 times. And everyone's like, shall we move on? No!
Yeah. That's right, though. But before sat-navs, that's what you did, wasn't it? You used to look at the map and go, okay, where is this road? Figure out how you got there. And then you would enjoy the road. And like you said, when you want to move on, you grab the map, have a look. Where it looks good now? Right, we'll go here. Now it's like you're just going from one point to the next point. You're just following, aren't you? You're not...
Yeah, we are. And literally look at it, and we used to describe it as "Where's the spaghetti?" And anything that just looked like this, okay, let's go there.
I need to do that again. I need to get my mates together, and we need to do old school road trips. Yeah. None of the technology that we always use now. Let's just go. Yeah. That's it. How many pages are we going to do today?
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Do the same.
That's all of the Instagram ones. I think we've got 2 over on Facebook, if you've got time for them.
Yeah, go ahead.
Lovely. Right, this one's Paul Simpson. Can't wait for this. Hopefully it's a long one. My question, as fit as you are, do you still go for coffee and cake? If so, what cake? As clearly it doesn't affect your waistline. Same to you, Bruce. So yeah, what is your treat? What's your treat cake?
My son is just top it. What's my treat cake?
Carrot cake.
Carrot cake, yeah, he's right. Carrot cake.
But that's healthy, Jane. That's effectively that's fruit. No, yeah, is it fruit? Carrot? No, vegetable.
It has like a white sugary icing on the top. That's just
carrot cake is nice.
Yeah, I love carrot cake. I like anything chocolatey.
Are you a dark chocolate or milk chocolate?
Oh, both.
Yeah.
Both, yeah. I'm not great with anything like it's too sort of fatty tasting, with loads of cream on. I'm not great with that. And I love...
We are so different.
I like banoffee pie and stuff. It's a bit... I know.
No.
Yeah, no.
I'd marry banoffee pie.
No, it's too much. And if I make cake, so like every year I make my son a birthday cake, he gets to choose the theme. So this year it was a shark. Where I made turtle cakes and elephant cakes and stuff. And I must admit, I'm not great at following recipes anyway, because I just think somebody else's rules and I want to make my own, which is not great when you're making desserts because you really need to follow a recipe. But if I'm making a cake, I never put the amount of sugar in or butter in that they say, ever.
Do you not?
Never. I just can't bear to watch all that. And actually, and normally when I'm making a cake, I only make cakes once a year for his birthday. And I get that icing, the sugar icing that you roll so that I can make the shapes and stuff. And so you don't need like half of it to be sugar in the cake and then all the sugar, because all the kids are going to eat the sugar icing too. So I usually put in about half to 2/3 and just take a knob of butter off. I'm not great at measuring stuff. As I said,
don't do rules, man. Don't do rules.
And I don't do scales.
I'm banoffee pie every day of the week, or anything with cinnamon in it. I love a bit of cinnamon.
Really?
Oh yeah. Love a bit of cinnamon. God, I'm getting hungry. That's not a good sign. Right. Cheers for that one, Paul. Next one. This is the last one. Nathan Turner. Good day. What is your favourite old classic motorbike and why? Oh, sorry, and why? And that's from Biker Dude from Saskatoon in Canada. So good day. What's your favourite old classic motorbike and why?
I can't really answer that because old classic bikes were not really my thing. Like I've never ridden a two-stroke.
I haven't either.
Oh, haven't you?
No, and I feel less of a biker because everyone goes on about the two-stroke days and the smell, and I'm like, never experienced that.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought I was the only biker in the world who'd never ridden a two-stroke.
No. I didn't start riding until 2008, so like I'm a newbie effectively at this.
I started in 2001.
Yeah, but you became a bike journal before like all this influencer bollocks all happened, didn't you? You did it properly.
Old bikes. I wouldn't even know what to say. I don't even know the names of old bikes. I think probably the bikes that I rode are now old bikes. Huh?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like the SV650 that I did in the endurance championship. But those bikes then. Wait, I did that in. Oh, it was before Mika was born. He was born in 2011. So it's been 2007 or 8 or something, and the bikes were 10 years old. That was part of the rules. So that's the oldest bikes that I can even think of. I don't know any classic bikes.
Are they the oldest ones that you've ridden then? Ones from like the late 90s?
Yeah, probably. I don't think I've ever ridden I've ridden prototypes before, like I think like a hydrogen fuel cell bike and stuff like that. But
Wow.
I don't think, it was just one of a kind.
What was that like?
Don't drop it.
Yeah.
It was really strange because it was years and years and years ago before anyone was even talking really about electric bikes. So now, like one of the last launches I ever did was the Livewire from Harley Davidson.
Yep.
So I kind of was expecting it to not feel and sound obviously like a motorbike. But this hydrogen fuel cell thing, it was really top heavy because it had like this huge cell in the middle, but it was like high and thin. So every time you leant, it just went flop, because you got this really high center of gravity. It was really strange, interesting. But yeah, an old classic. I wouldn't even know where to begin. Sorry.
I've done a video on it. A mate of mine likes to fettle, and him and his dad collect stuff and do it up, and they never sell it. So like he's got stuff like an old Second World War sea mine that's in his garage, and a jukebox from the 1950s that's all done up now and works, and that's in his man shed. But they have some classic bikes going back to, I think the oldest one they had was about a 1920 or 1915 bike. So they had like is it Douglas Francis or something like that? They had 3 bikes anyway. I've done a video on it, just as a classic episode. And I got the opportunity to ride these bikes. And I was amazed at how familiar they felt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what I was expecting, but I was riding them, and okay, the brakes, the brakes and the performance isn't what you get anywhere near these days. But it was still just riding a bike. But it felt much more of a living, breathing thing, a bit like a Harley and like an old Harley as well. They have a soul. Those bikes. I really see the attraction now when you ride them, because it's. This thing is popping and farted and growling at you as you ride it. So it's a real visceral experience to ride it. I really enjoyed them. I really enjoyed riding those old bikes. But I don't think I would ever own one. My mate was saying that the starting sequence, if you got the starting sequence wrong, said you'd have to leave the bike for like an hour and a half, because there's just no way it's going to start. You just have to leave it, come back to it later on, and go through all these steps again to get the thing going.
I've never really ridden something super old, but I was just thinking, I had a conversation, I think it was last year, with Henry Cole and the gang, and we were talking about maybe doing some stuff together. So I think if I had an opportunity to work with them, then I would imagine then there might be some old stuff turning up, battling things and might be some old stuff. But other than that, I in my job, I was testing new bikes mostly. So yeah. Sorry, I feel like I've let you down on that answer.
No, not at all. Not at all. I'm glad it's not just me. I literally thought I was the only biker of this sort of generation who'd never ridden a two-stroke. Well,
No.
thankfully I'm not. Happy days.
No.
Jane, that's us. We've done all the questions. We've finally finished them.
Cool.
Do you know that's 2 hours, 20 minutes you've been on here?
I do love a good old chat, don't I?
I feel like I genuinely feel like you've helped me. Like the switch hasn't gone, but I think I found something that I didn't have before. Like the why. I think I'm pointing at it. I think I know where I need to be going for that inspiration. Cool. I might even row tomorrow.
Yeah, go on, do it.
I'll tag you in it.
Message me. Yeah, do a little film, then message me or tag me. And show everyone you've got your arse in gear and you got started.
Right, is there anything we've not covered that you'd like to cover?
No, I don't think so. I'll let you know the link once it's all sorted, and then we can get people get a nice community together and start changing some lives. Start getting people showing up, playing with pride in the second half.
Where would people, obviously I will put the link down below then. This would probably go live next week. Is that too early for you?
No, that'd be fine.
Are you sure? Because I can hold off when this gets published. That's not a problem.
Perhaps I'll have a think about it.
Okay. Right, folks, whenever this goes out, it will be live. So if you have a look at the show notes, if you're listening to the podcast, just click on the sort of description-y bit in whatever platform you're listening to it. If you're watching a YouTube vid, have a look at the description down below and the link will be there. Come and join. I'm going to be there. Let's sort ourselves out. Let's get on with this. Let's get it done. We're gonna get trained by a gladiator. You know, this opportunity doesn't come around every day. Jane, it's been awesome. I love chatting to you. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
We should make it an annual thing because it's a real lift chatting to you.
Thank you so much for having me back. And I love hearing your adventures and especially the bit about where you rode around the world.
Sit down, I'll tell you all about it.
Maybe we should do a little bike rider together at some point.
Oh, I'd love to, but you would just show me up. I know you would. Can you wheelie? You can wheelie, can't you?
Well, for the cameras.
I can't even.
For the cameras in one gear 15 years ago, don't think I'd be doing that now.
Let's chat to a manufacturer. They can lend us a couple of bikes. And, doesn't matter then if you chuck it down the road, does it? Didn't say that.
It could be fun to get a little ride out somewhere.
Awesome. Do you have a website?
I do. It's called Jane Omorogbe Health Coach or something. It's basically a landing page, so you can have a look around there. So best place, if you want to have a chat, ask me questions, reach out, ask about the coaching program that's coming up in April, then Instagram's your best bet. Because if you go to the website, I think there's a button on there somewhere that contact me. It goes to an email, but I have a zillion emails. So don't do that. Message me on Insta, and then it's more direct, personal. All
those links will be down below, folks. So make sure you give Jane a follow, a like, all that stuff. Awesome, great to chat with you again. And folks, I hope you've got something from this. I know I have. And what can we say? Keep doing your thing. Look after those that you love. Get on out there whenever you can. But most importantly, live your life. Right, let me stop that.